Now that we've reached the final weekend of the season, I feel like it's a good time for me to choose who I think should win the regular season awards. Keep in mind this is who I would give it to, not who I think will win it. Starting off with MVP, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Just 13 players in the history of the NBA have won back-to-back MVPs, and I think Shai joins that illustrious group this year. After having an all-time season last year, he's arguably been even better this year. He's averaging 31.5 points per game, shooting a ludicrous 55% from the field. Only 4 guards in NBA history have averaged 30 plus points a game on 50% or better from the field, with those being George Gervin, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and SGA. This season, SGA has tied Jordan as the only player in NBA history to do it 4 times. And SGA this season is the only guard in NBA history to do it, shooting 55%. His 31 points per game on 67% true shooting makes him only the second guard in NBA history to average 30 a game on 65% true shooting or better, with the only other instance of it happening in NBA history being Steph Curry's unanimous MVP season in 2016. A large part of this accomplishment is thanks to him shooting a ridiculous 55% on nearly 700 mid-range shots this year, making it one of the best mid-range shooting seasons in the history of the NBA. In addition, Shai has only averaged 2.2 turnovers per game, which is the lowest for a 30-point per game scorer in NBA history, which is insanely impressive considering how much he's scoring and that he averages nearly 7 assists per game. He's also a good defender, especially for his position, most notably using his length to contest shots and break up passes, as he's in the 93rd percentile in block rate, 96th percentile in opponent rim efficiency, and 69th percentile in deflections for his position. He brings irreplaceable value to the Thunder, leading to OKC being nearly 9 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the court, leading the Thunder to the best record in the NBA for the second consecutive season. For Defensive Player of the Year, I have none other than Victor Wembanyama. The past 2 seasons, Wemby was a lock for DPOY as long as he hit the games played requirement. Unfortunately, last year he missed half the season with a blood clot, but this year he was just able to hit the 65 games played requirement. Wemby's defensive domination shows up in both counting stats and impact stats, as he's in the upper echelon of both. In terms of counting stats, Wemby eviscerates the rest of the field, averaging more than 1 block per game better than the second best shot blocker in the league this year in Chet Holmgren. For reference, the gap between him in first and Holmgren in second is the same gap as Holmgren in second and Jalen Williams in 61st. He also averages 1 steal per game, which is rare for a center, as less than 10 of them in the league do so. In terms of more advanced stats, he's in the 99th percentile of centers in opponent field goal percentage when contesting. He rarely fouls, placing the 92nd percentile among centers in foul rate, and he's in the 88th percentile in deflections per 100 possessions among centers. Since he has high steal and block rates and draws offensive fouls frequently as well, he's the very best center in the league in stop percentage. These also don't take into account the amount of times a player is going to go for a shot, but Victor's presence deters them, and they have to reset the offense. These stats, and unrecorded impact, make him immensely valuable for the Spurs defense, as San Antonio's defense is a whopping 13 points better per 100 possessions with Wemby on the floor compared to off. Hopefully this is the first of many DPOY awards for Wemby, because if he can stay healthy in his career, he can shatter the record for most Defensive Player of the Year awards in a career, with the current record only being 4. For Rookie of the Year, I have Kon Knueppel taking it home this year. This was one of the most fun Rookie of the Year races in recent memory thanks to a strong push by Cooper Flagg in the last couple weeks, with back-to-back 45-point games, but I think Kon has had the better year overall. Kon has literally been the best rookie shooter in the history of basketball, knocking down 43% of his 8 3-point attempts per game, which has led to him leading the NBA in made threes, becoming the first rookie to do so in league history. He's already one of the best off-ball players in the league as a rookie, but he's also able to create his own shot and set up teammates with his ability to handle the ball well. His 19 points per game come on an ultra-efficient 64% true shooting, which is unbelievable as a rookie guard, as there are only 10 other players in the NBA to do so, all being current or former All-Stars. He's underrated as a passer as well, averaging 3.5 assists per game, despite not getting a ton of ball handling reps, landing him in the 76th percentile in potential assists per 100 possessions for his position. Thanks to his uber efficient scoring and above average passing, Kon lands in the 94th percentile among all NBA players in offensive daily plus-minus. He's also nowhere near as bad a defender as most people would think, especially when he's the closest defender to the rim, ranking the 94th percentile among shooting guards in opponent rim efficiency. While Cooper Flagg made it a fun race at the end, I have to give the nod to the guy who was great throughout the year, not just good with a flash of fantastic at the very end. For most improved player, I have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. The cousin of presumed MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has broken out in a big way this year after leaving Minnesota for more money and a better opportunity in Atlanta. Nickeil has shown flashes of his offensive potential in the past, and with his increased role this year in Atlanta, he showcased his skills quite well, increasing his scoring average by more than 12 points per game, more than double his scoring average from his previous season, jumping from 9 points per game to 21 points per game. He's been a very efficient three-point shooter in the last few years, but he's doubled his attempts per game this year from the last couple seasons, yet retained the efficiency, knocking down nearly 40% of his 8 attempts a game from deep. He's one of only 3 players in the NBA to do so this year, with the other 2 being superstars Steph Curry and Anthony Edwards. He's also taken a big jump in free throw attempts and the rate at which he makes them, nearly tripling his attempts per game and making an extremely impressive 90% of them, which is a staggering 16% better than his career average coming into the year. He also averages nearly 4 assists per game as well, and averages nearly 10 potential assists per 100 possessions, which is in the 76th percentile for all shooting guards. All in all, it's super impressive that he's taken this huge scoring leap, and while doing it, has done it more efficiently than ever, having a career best true shooting percentage of 61, which is 3% above league average. I thought pretty hard about choosing Ryan Rollins for this award, but Rollins' increase in production was more just due to a huge increase in playing time, and also being the second best player on a team that will make the playoffs makes him more deserving in my opinion in regards to Nickeil Alexander-Walker. For Sixth Man of the Year, I have Jaime Jaquez Jr. Jaime is probably an unpopular pick at this point in the season, with many preferring Keldon Johnson due to him being a very efficient scorer and good rebounder on a 60-win team, but I think Jaime just has done more for his team. Jaime averages 2 more points per game, the same amount of rebounds, and more than 3 times more assists per game, averaging an impressive 15, 5, and 5 off the bench. The stuff that Jaime does is just straight up more valuable than what Keldon does, as he creates shots for himself and others far more often than Keldon. Jaquez creates 51% of his shots, and Johnson only creates 35% of his, and Jaquez averages triple the potential assists per 100 possessions, averaging 15 compared to Johnson's 5. Jaquez's production has been historically good, as he's the only player in NBA history to average 15, 5, and 5 off of the bench. Keldon has been really good, but he hasn't been an outlier like Jaime has. And in terms of impact, the Heat are 3 points better with Jaime on the court as opposed to off, with their offense and defense having a higher rating when he's on. Meanwhile, the Spurs are 5 points worse with Keldon on the floor as opposed to off, with both their offensive and defensive ratings being worse when he's on the hardwood. If Keldon wound up winning, I wouldn't say Jaquez was robbed, but I certainly think Jaquez is more deserving. For Clutch Player of the Year, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. This was by far the easiest award to pick because he's just been extraordinary in clutch time this year. Shai leads the league in total clutch points despite playing 11 less clutch opportunities than the second best clutch scorer in Jamal Murray, while also leading the league in clutch points per game. He's also been extraordinarily efficient in those games, having a true shooting percentage of 67, which is completely wild. He's also tied with Nikola Jokic for most assists per game in clutch time, and has a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio during such times. His tremendous clutch play has led to him carrying the Thunder to a 20-7 record in clutch games he's played in, which is the best team record in the clutch for any star in the league. And lastly, for Coach of the Year, I have Joe Mazzulla. There are a lot of good options for Coach of the Year this season. You could go with J.B. Bickerstaff leading the Pistons to the number 1 seed in the East, Mitch Johnson coaching the Spurs to more than 60 wins and the best record in the NBA, and Jordan Ott of the Suns, or Charles Lee of the Hornets, who have also done a great job guiding their teams to shattering their preseason wins predictions. But I think Mazzulla is the most deserving of any coach. The Celtics were expected to be a play-in team this year, since Jason Tatum was expected to miss most of, if not the entire 2026 season. They lost a steady veteran point guard in Jrue Holiday, lost their quality starting center in Kristaps Porzingis, and also lost one of the best bench bigs in the league in Luke Kornet. But Joe Mazzulla seemed to push every button at just the right time for Boston, leading them to the second seed in a surprisingly good Eastern Conference. He was able to squeeze all the potential out of Jaylen Brown this year, turning him into an MVP candidate for most of the season, as well as doing a wonderful job extracting value out of many inexperienced players like Baylor Shireman, Luka Garza, Jordan Walsh, Ugo Gonzalez, and Josh Minot. Those players have played more than 5,000 combined minutes this season, and every one of those players had a positive net rating when on the court. Despite losing two ball handlers in Holiday and Tatum for most of the season, the Celtics offense ranked 4th in the least turnovers per game and ranked in the top 5 in offensive rebounding percentage and second chance points per game, which I feel happened because Mazzulla really drove home the point that a Boston team with less talent than its predecessors needed to win the possession battle night in and night out to make up for their loss of talent. Perhaps the most impressive stat from Mazzulla is that the Celtics have a net rating of 15 in nearly 1,000 minutes on the season when neither Brown nor Tatum are on the court. For reference, there are only 4 lineups in the entire NBA this year to match that number with a qualifying sample size. In addition, the Celtics are one of only 3 teams in the league to be top 5 in offensive and defensive rating, which is so impressive given all the talent they lost in the offseason or had injured this year. There are a lot of coaches who I would understand giving the award to, but I think Mazzulla would be the best choice.